Hello, my name is Jaime Herrera. I'm the Director of Service for Imperial Range. And today we're going to talk about the range heating surfaces and how to clean them and how to maintain your appliance in a much better way. A lot of times what we see is that these cast iron units are extremely hot, especially towards the end of the day after you've closed shop or whatever the case may be, and they're extremely hot. What we've seen happen is that you take these and they're hot and you drop them into water. That is a big no-no, because what's going to happen is that it's going to soften up the metal and it's going to discolor the unit and it's going to lose its consistency, basically meaning that the metal is not going to be as good, or you may even see rust, right? So it's important that when you do clean these units here that you make sure that they're perfectly dry, okay, before you put them back on. Warm water, you can put them in, but make sure they're cool. Okay, because if you put them in when they're hot, you're just going to mess up the metal, and you're not going to get the longevity that these are designed to give you. Also, what you want to do is, once you're cleaning and doing your thorough maintenance throughout the night, you want to make sure that these units as well are not dumped in hot water when they're hot, right? So if they're cool, yeah, you can drop them in or even put them through the washing machine, dishwasher. And do that. But you got to make sure they're dry. Now, one of the things that we recommend is that you take a wire brush and you brush all alongside of it to remove all that stuff that's been spilt and it's been put on it. Okay, that's important because a lot of those oils that drop into the burners are corrosive, right? And over a period of time, they will start to eat through the cast iron. So it's important, wire brush. You have all your holes right here. Make sure they're nice and clean. Flip the burner over. Make sure you're cleaning in here as well. The reason why I say that is because in here you have a ridge, right? That ridge actually seals your burner, which is your second piece where your gas comes from. If for some reason you start to get deterioration in this generalized area here, what's going to happen is your burner is going to be up like this and it's not going to be seated properly. Therefore, you're not going to get the maximum output out of your burner because gas is going to be coming out this way. Granted, you put a lot of big pots on top of them and you probably won't notice it, but you're really not getting the true heat. So therefore, it is important that you make sure that you're able to swivel them back and forth nicely. That means that you're really maintaining it. Also, you have your lower base that is right here, your bowl as well. This also needs to be cleaned, right? We want to make sure that you remove all this stuff, because if you don't, again, it's going to eat up the material, and that's not something that you want to happen. So what's left is your burner, right? This is where all your gas flows through. This is where it combustions. And like I had mentioned before, with your burner, you have your base and your burner. As you sit, it sits flush, it goes round and round, right? But if it doesn't, it's got something on there, it will go like this, just even a little bit, right? So your seal is going to be gone. So therefore, you're going to have gas escaping this way, or it may even light this way. And therefore, you're not going to get full BTUs. So it's important to make sure that you do maintain these. Again, there's nothing wrong with just taking them apart and just wire brushing all alongside of it to remove any of that oil that has dropped into it, and therefore it will start corroding the unit after maybe 6 months, a year, and so forth if it's not cleaned. It's just called true maintenance, right? Really keeping it up. Once you're in here as well, it is a good idea, not so much this big of a brush, but there's other hardware stores that sell smaller brushes that you can actually brush alongside your standing pilot, right? Because you always want your standing pilot to just be mushroomed out in a way that it's uniformed. Therefore, when you light either your burner in the front, it's going to be quickly catch. If it's blocked on one side in the front, then it's going to be shooting the flame the other way and it's going to take longer. And then what will happen is that you will get little bursts of a flame when it does light. So you want to make sure that that's cleaned at all times. Once you're in here, it's also good to just kind of look at everything over just to make sure that everything's nice and clean. Now, it is important to remember to, when you put your burner back in, that it does go in the little hole, okay? If it doesn't sit right, it's not in right. So you got to make sure, because if you don't, you may cause more problems than you need. And again, reinsert back in, it goes into your orifice, it drops but right back in. Always give the burner a little twist just to make sure that you're nice and seated and that it's not wobbly or up a little bit, and therefore gas is going to escape. So those are some tips that we think are very valuable in order for you to get long lifespan out of your unit.